Now streaming live. All right. Good morning, Michigan and commissioners and everyone else. As chair of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 10:03. This Zoom webinar is live streamed on YouTube and on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission YouTube channel. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they are currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting MI. Our live stream today includes closed captioning, ASL interpretation in Spanish, Arabic, and Bengali translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those closed caption transcripts will be made available and posted on the michigan.gov/MICRC website and written public submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to view the maps and comments, which the commission can see. Members of the media who may have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, Executive Director for the Commission at woodse3@michigan.gov or 517-331-6309. For the public watching and the public record, I will turn to Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present. Take it away, Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. I'll call on you in alphabetical order, and please also let us know where you are attending remotely from by telling us the city, township, or county you are attending from. Doug Clark. Juanita Curry.
Present and attending remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Anthony Eade.
Present. Present, remotely attending from Orchard Lake, Michigan.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yes. Hello, good morning, everyone. Present and remotely attending from Orchard Lake, Michigan.
Got it. Brittany Kellum.
Present and attending from Detroit, Michigan.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, currently attending from Lake County.
Steve Lett.
Present, attending from Grand Traverse County.
Cynthia Orton. MC Rothhorn.
Present, attending from East Lansing, Michigan.
Rebecca Satella.
Present, attending remotely from San Francisco, California.
Janice Villette.
Present, attending from Highland, Michigan. Also says I'm Brittany because I use Brittany's link.
I'll change that for you in just a moment.
Okay, thanks.
I look a little different today.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Attending remotely from Saginaw Township, Saginaw, Michigan.
Dustin Witches.
Present, I'm attending remotely from Douglas County, Illinois.
11 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. As a reminder to the public watching, you can view the agenda at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. I would now entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
That was a motion from Commissioner Witches and a second from Commissioner Curry. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it. So we are moving on with our agenda. which did not want to print for me today, so I'm moving screens here. So we are on to our commission report. Oh, excuse me. We have public comment, don't we? Or do we have public comment, Ms. Reinhardt?
We do. We have one individual for public comment today.
Very good. Let's move on to public comment. Without objection, we will move on to the public comment. And hearing no objections, we will now proceed. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will call your name and our staff will unmute you. If you're on a computer, you will be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute. If you are on a phone, a voice will say that the host wants you to speak. I will call on you by your number. Also, please note if you experience technical or audio issues, or if we do not hear from you for 3 to 5 seconds, we will move on. If your audio still does not work, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov and we will help you troubleshoot so you can participate during the next public comment period at a later meeting. You will have 2 minutes to address the commission. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. First in line is number 1.
Hello, this is James Gallant, Marquette, and these are my opinions. Mr. Chair, please post the transcripts that you've been promising us back to January. There are none on the website yet. And at the request of Tony Daunt, the new chairman of the Michigan State Board of Canvassers, I'm here to reiterate my concerns about election fraud and the so-called deep state in Michigan, and the refusal of the MICRC to follow the approved by vote rules of procedure, including Robert's Rules of Order newly revised, which is the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America. And now it appears that that's just running rampant through the Department of State, because Chairman Daunt clearly understands that there shall be no debate before a motion is properly supported, as in page 366, line 8, Robert's Rules. Yet he proceeded to conduct all the discussion before the motions and then blatantly denied the rights of the members and then entertain a motion that appeared to not be on the agenda. It's like you're negotiating the motion, right? And then you do it at the end, but that motion wasn't on the agenda. So it appears that this breach is being created and supported directly by Secretary of State Joyce Benson and the Department of State staff, including Sarah Reinhardt, Mike Brady, and Jonathan Brader. And this is the deep state. This is where the staff does whatever they want, and where somebody does whatever they want, and there's the least amount of liberty in Michigan. That's where it is, and it's right here. This is the election fraud happening at this board. The MICRC is conducting election integrity fraud because you're not following the rules. I mean, you know what the rules are, Mr. Chair, and you just blatantly won't do it. You assign the floor to Witches at the last meeting, and then he just reluctantly, I was pained by his reaction to you forcing him to facilitate the meeting while there was no motion. And he did it. He was bullied, and you're the bully, and now you're the victim, and he's the victim. It's the bully-victim situation, and you're all circular doing it with each other. It appears that Mr. Witches is a vulnerable adult also. I could see the tear in his eye. And several others on your committee.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes our public comment for today. However, I would like to mention that all emailed and mailed public comments are provided to the commission before each meeting. Commissioners also regularly review the public comment portal on our michigan.gov/MICRC website. We appreciate everyone who offers public comment in whatever way you choose and invite you to keep sharing your thoughts, especially if you'd like to share ways that the MICRC processes or procedures have been good or could be more effective. All right, moving on in our agenda to number 5, unfinished business. I will ask Commissioner Lett, our legal liaison, to present this item. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Commissioner Lett. You're muted, Steve. Steve, we can't hear
you. I can't print my agenda either. What is number 5?
Unfinished business, commission report, 5A.
Well, I'll give the liaison report. That acceptable?
It is. Is that what was intended, Director Woods? I may have, sorry. Yeah. I see your hand.
This is the commission report overview, Commissioner, that we were going to provide here. Then the legal liaison would be a little later.
Okay.
Where we talk about the dormancy.
Rebecca had her hand up.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Lett. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was just gonna say that Edward had just sent out the three dissenting reports and commission reports. So I think this was about that. I was just gonna add that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Commissioner Lett, you have the floor.
Sure, this will be real short. We got this late yesterday or early this morning, I don't know which. It looks like it's about 70 pages long, including the exhibits. I'm sure that everybody has had ample opportunity to read through this. The report is there for your perusal. We will discuss it at our next meeting after you've had an opportunity to review it. Excuse me, we did discuss the report last week with Kate and Nate, kind of the Kate and Nate show. There were no particular issues regarding the report from Kate as it would pertain to the effect on legal proceedings now. So the report is as was presented with some minor changes here and there regarding formatting or syntax or whatever. So finally, the report is here for your review, and we can discuss it next month. If you had particular questions to submit or comments to submit that you wanted us to consider before we meet next, you can submit those to Edward and he can get them out to everybody, or we simply discuss it as we go. The minority reports were not changed in any manner that I'm aware of. So they are what they are.
And I see Director Woods shaking his head, meaning they were not changed at all.
They were not changed at all. They were approved by the respective commissioners. So I want to thank them for that. What is going to happen is we will give this to Good Marketing, who will format it and update the report. And we will also send that out as well. Obviously, by the time we got it, they could not do it, and it'll be combined into one document. So we want to get that out and then post it on our website for the public to see, as soon as possible. So we hope to have that up within 24 hours. So everyone has a chance to see it, and then they will format it, and then I'll send that out and also update that on the website for the public to see as well. But I definitely want to thank Commissioner Lett, Baker Hostetler, Fink Bressick for their work. I know it seemed like a long time coming, but we just wanted to double check and make sure the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed as it relates to how the commission approved the maps.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Lett and Director Woods. I do see that was 5A. We do have a 5B on the agenda related to census block geographical boundaries, if I still have that correct, or do I have the draft? And
you have the draft. That one is going to be postponed to next month. There's a few questions that need to be answered. Very good. Just so that everyone knows, but participating in that meeting were Commissioner Zatella and Commissioner Witches. And so we're obviously working with MDOS, and we just have a few questions we want to make sure we can answer correctly and bring that up at the next meeting in August.
Very good. Thanks very much. So we will move on to number 6, our new business. The fiscal year 22 May financial report. Without objection, I will ask you, Mr. Woods, to present this item. Hearing no objection, please proceed.
All right. I am monitorless, only have one. So let me know if you can see the report. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
And this is the revised fiscal year 2022. The governor signed the bill into law for the $2.2 million. And so we should have that in our account, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And what this is showing is we were appropriated for this fiscal year, which is 25% of the general fund, general purpose of the Michigan Department of State, $3,108,900. In addition, we'll have $2,200,000 for a total of $5,308,900. The salaries in terms of the budget stays the same. Our travel cost is $90,000. Meeting costs would be $179,940. This also includes, we met with the Michigan Department of State, and then starting in August and September of this fiscal year and moving forward, we would be responsible for the interpreters and the translators. And all of that total comes to $1,000 per hour, $1,000 per hour. So just want you to know that we will start incurring those costs with our next meeting in August. Our technology is $35,000. That consists of the cell phones, as well as the support that DTMP provides for our computers, as well as the cell phones. That bill usually hits, the DNTB support usually hits in September of every year, just so you know. Our advertising is $177,340. And then our consultants, this is our big one, is $3.5 million. Then our office support is $4,000 for a total of $5,308,900. And so I'm seeking approval for that because we have a change in the budget with regards to this new appropriation, and all budgets are approved by the commission. If there are any questions, I can take them at this time. Commissioner Rothorn.
Thank you. I see Commissioner Lett.
Yeah, just a clarification, Edward misspoke at the top on the amount that has been appropriated. He said 5,000 something, it's 5 million something. So just a clarification.
Thank you. And Director Woods, the change that we are approving for this fiscal year, which ends in August, no, excuse me,
ends in September.
I apologize. In September, is primarily the change is the revenue.
Correct. It'll be the change in the revenue, and then obviously the increase in the expenses to match that revenue.
Okay, and which includes the meetings, or what you were suggesting that the secretary is no longer able to provide the meeting support.
Right. Well, we were able to accommodate that. The bulk of that is obviously going for legal expenses and everything else for the purpose of $2.2 million.
Great. So the changes, we're just approving changes, and it's mostly the revenue. It's
well, right, but you have to match the revenue with the expense.
Of course, of course. All right. Are there any questions or comments for Director Woods on this proposed budget for this fiscal year?
I move the adoption.
Thank you, Director Commissioner
I
Lett.
have a question.
Please, yes, Commissioner Lang.
I want to know if gifts or things that were purchased are under office supplies.
No, they are not.
Okay, are they listed separate? I do not have the budget in front of me because I'm on the road. Were they listed separate? I didn't see it.
When you say gifts, what are you referring to, Commissioner Lang?
Well, one that I'm referring to was the gift that was sent to my home personally of the shadow box, or the token, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. The shadow box came under the advertising with regards to that which you're referring to. And then if you're referring to office supplies, that could have been the postage.
Okay, so it's under advertising.
That is correct. You received a shadow box. We provided you with a mask, a picture, and your name tag as you being a part of the commission. That is correct. And that was provided to the commissioners as well as the staff.
Okay, and for full transparency, I did bring this up to Mr. Woods in an email. I am wholeheartedly against using taxpayer funds to provide tokens to this commission. So I will be returning mine, but I think in full transparency, it's something that should be made aware of. So that's why I asked. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we do have a motion on the floor.
Commissioner Kellum's hand was raised. Commissioner.
Oh, thank you. Commissioner Kellum?
I just wanted to quickly still acknowledge and thank Edward for even thinking of us to put together the shadow box out of the kindness of his heart to recognize the commission and the work that we did, because that took some work and thought. So yeah, thank you, Edward.
I'll second the motion from Commissioner Lett.
Thank you. So we have Commissioner Witches. So the motion on the floor is to approve the budget as presented for fiscal year 2022. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed, raise your hand and say nay.
Nay.
I believe we have 11 members present, so I believe we have 10 approving and 1 opposing. The ayes have it. Next on our agenda, so thank you, Director Woods. Next on our agenda is new business. Nope, that's what we just finished.
Commissioner Ross, I want us to note that Commissioner Orton is here. I think
Oh,
she's
thank
coming
you.
off mute. Commissioner Orton, did you have something to say?
I just wanted to say I'm here. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Orton. Would you acknowledge where you're joining us from so we can record you?
Yeah, I am joining remotely from Calhoun County, Michigan.
Thank you. All right. So I believe next on, so we just finished number 6. I believe we're moving on to number 7, but we do not have any minutes to approve.
We have more than just that, Commissioner.
Oh, thank you. I see the fiscal year 2023 draft budget. I apologize.
But we also have May, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same one.
Yeah, I think we missed 6A, which is the fiscal year 2022 May financial report.
All right.
All right, let me, are you ready for me to bring that up, Commissioner Arthur?
Yes, please. Thank you. And I appreciate all your help with me putting the agenda, and thank you, Mr. Reinhardt, for the link. So Director Woods, please take it away.
Hey, this is the amount of money that we have spent for the whole entire fiscal year in column 2022, and then specifically for the month of May under K. As you see, salaries, we spent $834,844.04 for the entire fiscal year, but at the end of, for the month of May, we spent $108,055.06. You'll see the breakdown as related to travel, advertising, our consultants costs, the office support. That $1,589 is we have a monthly Zoom license that we use for our legal liaison and other meetings that we have with regards to the Zoom. We also do our press conferences when we have it there as well. When you look at the net income where it says $612,824.70, I want to make sure that we understand that that does not include the outstanding bills we were holding for Baker Hostetler because of cash flow with regards to that. And it also doesn't include the bill that we have now paid to Fink Bresic that we owe. So just want to make sure that we're very, very clear, open, and transparent of what that does include. For Baker Hostetler, it's the February and March bill, but there's also an April bill that we haven't received. We also need to note that for May, as well as June, we have not received a bill from Baker Hostetler as well. So just want to make sure with regards to these numbers that we're open and transparent and not seeing that $612,824.70 as a true representation of the income we have on hand. So once again, if you take a look at this, and we're trying to make the budget very clear so that everyone understands where we are by the year, but also what we spend in the month. So if you have any questions, I can take them at this time, but this is what we have.
Are there any questions for Director Woods?
Apologies
Commissioner
for the
Wagner.
interruption. Just wanted to state that for the record, Commissioner Lang has left the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. So Commissioner Wagner?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Executive Director Woods. I have one question. On things like the travel costs, I noticed it went up almost $10,000. And I was wondering if you could clarify as to why.
You're talking about in May or?
Well, I printed them out and May says 81,000, but when we looked at the budget that you just put up there, we've got a 90,000 appropriated for travel costs. What is the reason for the difference?
The 82,000, Commissioner Wagner, is what we have spent for this whole entire fiscal year. The 90,000 is the budgeted amount through September 30th. Did I answer your question?
You did, thank you. I was just wondering why travel would have gone up if no one's traveling.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I believe do we need to take action on this, Director Woods? Or is this just a?
I think this is just a report for consideration by the commission.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, just some feedback. Is the report clear? You like different formatting? You want to make sure that you're getting the monthly report so you can actually see where we are and also see what was spent. As I shared with Commissioner Rothhorn yesterday, the budgets that we had before were approved, but they weren't balanced. So that's why we wanted to make sure we could have a clear representation of where we are with regards to our budget, but also the expenses.
So I'll speak for myself. I think it is clear, and it is appreciated having a monthly budget, or excuse me, having a monthly report on where we stand with our budget. Any other comments? All right. So that was 6A, and we have completed 6B. I believe we are moving on to 6C, for your 2023 draft budget presentation. Director Woods, without objection, I will ask Director Woods to present this item, and hearing no objection, please proceed.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Once again, we want to thank Governor Whitmer, Chris Harkin, State Budget Director, and the House Appropriations Subcommittee on General Government for navigating our $2.2 million request. As I shared with you earlier, that our budget for fiscal year 2023 has not been approved, but they are willing to consider it as part of the supplemental process in completing the budget. They have not completed the fiscal year 2023 budget, which does start October 1st, 2022. So taking a look at the numbers, I want to thank Mike Brady for verifying that 25% of the MDOS General Fund General Purpose budget that was approved was $12,679,300. That would make the commission legislative appropriation $3,169,825. The draft budget that I'm presenting and will provide some alternatives. I am working with the Secretary of State, and there's a willingness to see how much of the administrative responsibilities that they can take over. And we're in dialogue with that. And I can bring that alternative budget back to you at our next meeting for your consideration. But this particular budget has 13 salaries at 25% of the governor's current salary. That also includes the vendor service fees and taxes. So just want to make sure that everyone clearly understands that this would be a reduction in salary as it relates to the commission. I'm a part-time executive director at 5 hours per week at the current rate. We will not have the amount of work that we're doing right now in terms of updating in terms of the audit, our lessons learned report, the commission report, and things that we're trying to finish out and close out before the end of the fiscal year. We won't have that much. Obviously, this is subject to change. And the reason why we're presenting the budget today and not voting on it is you do know we have a primary election. And some of us are expecting lawsuits after the primary election, maybe not. But just in case, we do want to see where we are after that primary election. But if it's a caretaker role, that's just an estimate about what we needed. That could be subject to change. Travel costs, once again, this is an estimate based on not having public hearings, not having meetings, not being required to change things as a result of the court's decisions or anything along those lines. Our technology, it would be $45,000. This includes 14 cell phones and a Zoom license. It includes IT support for 14 computers and cell phone, and then MDOS support for meeting translations, ASL translation, and interpreters would be a part of that. Meetings, we put in $0 because we're not expected to have any meetings held in person. So $0 for that. And then the contracts for consultants would be $2.4 million, the bulk of that going to our litigation counsel and our local counsel for $2.3 million. No money for promotional whatsoever. And then office supplies, postage, copies, toner, that if you need, that would be there as well. And that would provide you with a budget of $3,169,825. Once again, this is a proposed. If you have ideas, suggestions, please share those with me so I can create some scenarios and bring them back. But I just wanted to give a starting point for the commission's consideration as relates to the fiscal year 23 budget. We do need to have this budget approved in August so that it can be submitted for the supplemental so that we can have funds available October 1st, because we do have to give them some time as well. If there's any questions with regards to the supplemental budget, ideas, suggestions to make it better, please share that with me and let me know, but that's what's being considered.
Commissioner Villette.
I just wanted to say, rather than Edward limit himself to 5 hours a week, maybe we should put in something like not to exceed more than like 15 hours or something like that. 5 hours a week. I know he says that he's not going to be doing that much, but I'd hate to think that, we were limiting him to 5 hours. So I think we should do a not to exceed so many hours.
Can you try to see how that would work or what that would look like in a budget situation, Director Woods? Can you bring that back to us? Okay.
Sure, I can work with Commissioner Villette on that.
Thank you. Commissioner Ede.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. 5 hours to me seems like a short amount of time for the amount of work that the executive director does. And while the work will get lighter in the future, I don't think it'll get that light. So maybe we could get a proposal with those being, as Commissioner Wagner said, or maybe like just 10 hours or something like that. I'd also like to see one with that and the commissioner salary be at its current rate that we're at instead of changing it. And we can see the options and go from there.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Ede. Any other thoughts for Director Woods so that he can work with this before we have our next meeting in August? Commissioner Zatella.
Yeah, I would just make sure that we have, if we're going to look at keeping salaries as is, we have two versions, because I personally am in favor of reducing the salary, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same. So let's make sure we're not just having one budget, that we have alternatives so we can improve one or the other.
Thank you, Commissioner Zatella. All right, I see some nodding heads there. All right. Seeing no other hands, I think we're going to move on. Thank you, Director Woods. And thank you for giving us the heads up and letting us take a look at it and giving our ideas. You do a fine job, Director Woods. A staff of one is hard. So anyways, just lots of kudos to Director Woods. Okay, we're moving on to 6D on our agenda, the Insights 3. I believe this is a contract. Is that correct?
Right. We need to ratify the contract. Commissioner Villette and I have been meeting with the audit team. And before we got into our engagement letter, it became abundantly clear that we would need some help with regards to our financials. and also tracking how we match the expense and revenue items in Sigma in terms of how we did our own checks and balances. And we looked for Insights 3 to assist us, and they were really helping us with fiscal year 22. And then with the recent resignation of Ms. Sarah Martinez, we also had them starting to help us out with regards to fiscal year 21. If you look in our draft procurement policy, it enables the executive director to engage in informal contracts under $5,000, which this one is. And so we started that process back in June with regards to that. It also requires me to provide a report on how the money was spent. And I can share with you with regards to the first invoice so that you can see how that money was spent. And let me see if I can pull that up for you at this time. There it is. This is our agenda, but this would be the invoice. Can you see it?
Yes.
And you'll see that as accounting and banking, meeting with Bob, import data from Excel to QuickBooks, clear the transactions and reconcile, $50. Then accounting, import and clear April 22 transactions is what they've done as well. And this is the bill that we've had for the month of June with regards to that. And the reason why this is important is the audit needs to see how we reconciled and how we did our checks and balances with the information that was provided to us, so that we can see if there were some errors or there were some corrections. We had the opportunity to do so. So that's why I engaged in them. We have a practice of always informing the commission with regards to these contracts under $5,000. So I wanted to bring it to your attention in an open and transparent manner. The contract has been reviewed by Nate Fink, who is our local counsel with Fink Bressick with regards to that. And the rate is very reasonable. It's only $50 an hour. When I called Plant Moran and another Clark and Lansing, they were at 165 and 170. So I think we got a really reasonable rate. If they're not using their person, they'll let us know. And if you look at the rates in the contract, they're comparable to what's being charged outside. So really appreciative of the group. They've worked extremely well with us. They've been very responsive so that we can get our information in, to the audit on a timely basis, and it has made a difference. Commissioner Vallette, if you would like to say anything, want to provide that opportunity as the audit liaison with regards to this request coming before the commission.
Well, I do know that they have been a big help. I mean, you called them the contract that the gift that keeps giving. So I know that you and I talked before you hired them, and I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a good rate. So I'm in favor of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Vallette and Director Woods. Yeah, and I just appreciate, again, as a staff of one, you're using your resources as commissioners very well. I think we as commissioners have done a nice job of sharing power. We've got, right, Commissioner Lett doing the legal stuff, Commissioner Vallette doing the audit stuff. So you have some resources to work with on our commission. And Director Woods, I just want to applaud you for finding people that, Commissioner Vallette also believes are excellent resources. So do we need to take action on this? Is
I
this
just want a
something,
motion to ratify the contract.
or is this just a report?
So moved to ratify.
A motion to ratify.
Second.
Commissioner Lett, motion to ratify. I see Commissioner Weiss, second. Any discussion? All in favor of ratifying the Insights 3 work that has been done thus far, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it. And thank you very much. All right, I believe we are moving on to 6E on our agenda, the revised meeting dates. Without objection, I will ask Mr. Woods to present this item. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Mr. Woods.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate that. Let me know if can you see that on the screen? Good. I'm looking at, and maybe Commissioner Rothfuss might be easier to do this. It's two separate motions.
Okay.
So we can talk about it. But looking at August 18th, what replaces the meeting scheduled for August 11th and 25th. So we're looking at having one meeting in August and looking at August 18th when working with the commission and talking to MDOS in terms of availability. We do have availability on the 18th of August for both of our teams, which are important for us to work at optimal level. This also gives us enough time to close out the books for July so we can provide a report in August, which is also important to me as well. So we want to make sure we have enough time to get the books closed out and have our team provide the financial reports as you've seen them today. So the first request is to change the meeting schedule for August 11th and 25th. I should say, let me put it like it's on the screen. Have the meeting on August 18th as the only meeting for the month of August for the commission.
So moved.
Second.
So that was Commissioner Witches and then Commissioner Lett. Any discussion? We are only talking about the August change right now. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Woods, take it away for September, please.
Thank you. Be able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, we're looking at September 9th or the 15th, and that's in ranked order. Replaces the meeting schedule for September 8 and 22. So we're looking at only having one meeting in September, and we wanted to let the commissions, kind of check their schedule to see which date works better for them. Our first preference is for the 29th, but if that's not a good date, our second preference would be for the 15th. Either way, we would have one meeting that would replace the two meetings that are scheduled in September that are currently scheduled for September 8th and the 22nd. So right here is what's the best for the commission. But in terms of this staff recommendation, my recommendation, our first preference would be the 29th and our second would be the 15th.
Is there any commissioner who cannot make the 29th? Please raise your hand if you know right now that you cannot make the 29th. And I'm going to wait for Commissioner Villette. She may have gone to get her calendar. Is there any commissioner who cannot make the 29th at this point? Please raise your hand. All right. Then I will suggest that we have a motion right now to change our September meeting date to the 20th. Oh, Commissioner Kellum, are you raising your hand? Okay. Commissioner, yeah. So I'm proposing that we have the motion to move our September meeting to September 29th to replace the two scheduled meetings that are, I believe, on the 8th and
22nd.
And the 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we've got Commissioner Witches, and then I'm going to take Commissioner Weiss as the second. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed,
Aye.
raise your hand and say nay. The motion passes. So we do have our September meeting on the 29th. Thank you all. Thank you, Director Woods, for coordinating that with Secretary of State. Much appreciated. All right, I do believe we are moving on to our item number 7, but we do not have minutes. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. So we will skip item 7 and we will move on to item 8, the Executive Director report. Without objection, I will ask Director Woods to provide his report. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Mr. Woods.
Are you able to see?
We are.
I want to thank Sarah Martinez for her service to the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. As you know, she resigned her position earlier this month due to competing priorities, and just want to thank her for her efforts. Many of you know she was a big help for our public hearings, trying to get us organized, providing administrative support, and just want to thank her for her efforts. One of the things that I'm working on is a catalog of meetings where we'll outline kind of a summary in terms of what took place at each of the meetings. It will also have the YouTube channel so people can see access the YouTube channel, but it's a spreadsheet. I'll provide you all with a draft at our next meeting, and it'll tell you exactly where we are with each of our meetings with regards to that. But I think it could be helpful for searching. I find it helpful in terms of identifying stuff that we could use when I'm doing the audit reports and they're looking for different reports and different things. If I had this, it would be fast in terms of finding some things. So I just think this would be helpful for openness and transparency. MICRC in the news, we had Commissioner Eid did an interview with WNDU out of South Bend, Indiana, with regards to an update with regards to the maps. You might have seen him also in Bridge, Michigan, and he will be representing at the VMP event in Oakland County this afternoon with regards to celebrating democracy and the redistricting process and giving kudos to those who were there to participate in that process. I want to thank Nelson Laurels, who's with the NDOS. He does our website updates and provides a monthly report on our website hits. Our final maps are the biggest thing that people are looking for. Our final maps are one of the big things that people are looking for. So just trying to make sure we have that information for those, and right now this is hot and heavy because of the primary. People want to see the maps, they want to see the interactivity, using the shape files and other things that they can use. So really happy with the report that he provides monthly with regards to that. There's been interest in a map booklet that Good Marketing is working on for our commission that will be done by districts. So we hope to have that next month as well with regards to the map booklet so that you can have the congressional maps in one spot, the district maps in one, State Senate and State House. You can actually look at those maps online with regards to that, but some people would like to print it in a little bit more user-friendly format. So we're getting that done. The lessons learned report and video will be going to the attorneys to review to make sure things are accurate and nothing is there. And we'll have drafts for you to look at our August meeting so that you can see both the report and the video with regards to drafts for your approval. And then just really want to thank Commissioner Rothhorn alluded to it earlier. Commissioners Lett and Commissioner Verlette, Commissioner Verlette and I are spending a whole lot of time together weekly in terms of meeting with the audit and just really appreciate their support. And then Commissioner Verlette and I are spending at least once or twice a month with our legal counsel in terms of follow up. And so I greatly appreciate it. I know I'm not alone. I know I have support and things are moving in the right direction for the commission. So just really wanted to thank those two that you have elected to represent you in those areas. So thank you again.
Thank you, Director Woods. I appreciate the way you appreciate us. Like you do a great job. Correct. Commissioner Kellen said it earlier, but you do it in small ways and you do it in big ways. So thank you. Any questions for Director Woods? All right, I believe we are moving on to number 9, the legal liaison report. Commissioner Lett, do you have anything for us?
Thank you, MC. Couple of comments. Number one, on the dormancy policy, obviously, Doug and I have worked on that, and Rebecca has also sent us a couple of suggestions, which I feel were appropriate. We haven't discussed it a lot. We have talked about it with the attorneys, and since these litigation is going to be ongoing, there isn't a huge pressure to do a new policy. However, what I would like, if you've had a chance to look at it and you have suggestions, get those to me and we'll take a look at them so that at a future date we can bring back a suggested policy. Understand that not everybody is in agreement with what we have been talking about doing, so that it's not a fait accompli, but we're getting there, and we'll see what we end up wanting to do. I have met Richard, excuse me, Edward and I have met several times since our last meeting with Nate and David regarding issues that come up. We also had one meeting in which Kate was involved on the report. I quite frankly anticipated that we would have had the draft report early this week or late last week after our discussions with the attorneys. I don't know why it didn't come sooner, but it's here now. So we were, in fact, requesting that we get that out sooner rather than later from their review. And they really didn't have a lot of comments regarding anything that they were concerned with in the report as it would pertain to representation of us in the lawsuits. The lawsuits are still pending. One is in front of the United States Supreme Court. The plaintiff has requested an extension on their time to file their brief, which has been granted. My recollection, I guess I don't have a recollection of the Supreme Court rules, but most of those are automatic if it's the first request for an extension. As you are aware or should be aware, the Supreme Court goes on summer vacation, so we're all safe for a couple of months from any adverse rulings on anything. And we don't anticipate that there's going to be any, excuse me, any response on their motion based on their brief. Once their brief is filed, we have an opportunity to respond with our own brief, which we will do, and then the case will be up to decide. Supreme Court will decide what they're going to do with it. The consensus of opinion is they probably won't grant the relief that was requested. If someone was going to do that, it would have made a lot more sense to do it right up front rather than wait till after all these elections take place and then grant something. So that's where that case is. The other case in Western District is just sitting there. It's not really doing anything right now, and don't anticipate that it will be. Another case of interest, if you've been following it, is the North Carolina case regarding whether or not courts can draw district lines. And we talked with Kate's firm, Baker, and the attorney that was online with us then, whose name escapes me right now, said that what you're reading in the newspapers isn't quite what the case really is about. So he didn't feel that it would impact Michigan because of the constitutional amendment. So he was, while it would affect what's going on in North Carolina and maybe going on in other states, he didn't feel that it would be impactful in Michigan. I think that brings us up to date on what's happening on the legal front. It has been pretty easy working with Nate and David. We don't really get involved much with Kate and her firm at this stage of the game. We probably will more as activity picks up. There was some discussion about whether or not we could anticipate any further lawsuits after the election. We have discussed this as a commission previously with regard to the districts and what could happen after the elections. Our totals are in, and we see what we have wrought. And once that's done, I would anticipate that, as I somewhat facetiously said, a lawsuit could be filed and it would say, "We told you so," or a lawsuit could be filed and we could look at it and say, "We got it right." We'll find out. And with that, I would certainly answer any questions if you have any. Anthony.
Thank you. Is there any update on the other lawsuit? Not Varian in the Supreme Court, but I believe there's still one other one.
The AG?
Yes, on the statewide.
No,
level.
there's no update other than it's just sitting there. They haven't done anything.
And those are the only two that are currently in the.
Right. Unless you want to file one, keep this thing going.
I'm good, Mr. Lett.
Come on now, let's wrap this up. Thank you, Commissioner Lett. Any other questions for Commissioner Lett, our legal liaison? Seeing none. All right, I believe we are on to the audit liaison report. That is you, Commissioner Vallette.
Okay, we've been meeting at least once a week. They did want to meet twice a week, but those meetings are usually canceled. But everything's going good. They originally asked for things like, how did we decide what mileage to use? How did we decide the meals? How we hired staff? We told them, the information. They've been asking for some reports, which Edward is promptly sending to them. They don't even have to wait a couple days. So everything is moving along. I know Edward and I don't think there's going to be any issues. We may have to do some quarterly reports that weren't done. Insights is helping us quite a bit. Basically, that's it. They should be done by the end of this month, they're saying, and the report should come out in August. And that's it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Vallette. Any questions? Any answers for Commissioner Vallette? All right. Thank you. All right, then we are moving on to our MDOS partners. Yes, Mr. Brady or Ms. Reinhardt?
Yes,
Is there a report?
I do. I have a report for you all.
Take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen really quickly because what I will be talking to you all about today has to do with the public comment portal. So let me share my screen so you can see it. Just as a refresher, this is the MICRC public comment portal. You may recall reading this a time or two in your time as a commissioner. And as a refresher, this public comment portal was created as a result of a contract that MDOS entered into with MGGG Redistricting Lab and Moon Duchin out of Tufts University. Just wanted to update you all as I updated you via email a couple days ago that the public comment submission function of this portal has ceased. So folks can still come here and see a log of all of the comments and the maps that were submitted, but they can no longer submit a public comment. Any member of the public wanting to submit a public comment going forward is welcome to email our inbox as they did before the public comment portal existed, and that is redistricting@michigan.gov. In addition, another update that I have for you all is that MGGG has let us know that the host for this site, which is Amazon Web Services or AWS, the cost that we had paid to host this site will expire at the end of August. So this website will no longer be up and running at the end of August. Should the commission wish to maintain the website in this format, you are welcome to do so. The cost for hosting the website with Amazon Web Services would be about $500 a month. So if you choose to let it expire, all of the public comments that are entered in on this site will be retained. We do have them in the form of an Excel document. So none of the comments or map submissions or files or links or anything that's been submitted on here would be lost. All of that is entered into the public record and would be retained. Should you let this website expire, the only thing that would change is this format will no longer exist, and you won't have this easily searchable function of searching by tags or subject matter. It'll all just be in an Excel document. And the map submissions that are on here, all of those are housed in the Districtor site, which is maintained as part of MGGG. So those will still exist as well. So my question really for the commission going forward is this something that you would want to pay the additional $500 a month to maintain the hosting of the site on Amazon Web Services? Or is it your collective will to let the site expire at the end of August and have all of the public comments contained herein posted on your website?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Reinhardt. So it's about $6,000 a year, $500 a month. Director Woods, do we have that? We currently would have to or I guess that would be something that we would talk about when we approve our fiscal year 2023 budget in August. Is that accurate?
That would be correct, but we would also have to pay $500 for the month of September, because Ms. Reinhardt shared that it would expire the end of August. So $500 for this current fiscal year. And then you're right, if that's something the commission was to continue, it would be $6,000 for fiscal year 23.
So are there, Commissioner Lett?
Sarah, do we have any idea how many people are accessing this site currently?
I do not. That's a good question. I can certainly reach out to MGGG to see if they track the number of hits they get on the website and report back to the commission.
I guess my thought being that while we were actively mapping and soliciting for comments, that this was a good spot. If we're not, people aren't looking at it or leaving a lot of comments now, which I quite frankly assume they're not. I don't see the usefulness in spending $500 a month on something that nobody's looking at, as long as we have the records, as Sarah has indicated, somewhere else that people can access.
And to your point, Commissioner Lett, well, I can't speak to how many folks are visiting the website to look at it. That's, as I said, something I could follow up with. I can speak to the fact that no one actually is able to submit a new comment via the portal because that functionality ceased at the beginning of this month, I believe.
Thank you.
Even more reason not to retain it.
So I see hands from Commissioner Witches and then Commissioner Orton. So Commissioner Witches first.
How quickly would you be able to put the website back up in its exact form with everything that's already there, even all the comments, if we need to go back to the drawing board? Because at that point, I would imagine that we'd be asking for comments again, and they may as well just go to the same website that they have been. If it's like a flip of a switch where we just save it and we can re-upload it and have it be there, then I'd be in favor of letting it expire as long as we keep everything. But if that's the case where it's going to be difficult to have that exact snapshot right now come back, and the ability to turn the public comment piece back on the portal, then I would say keep it up.
Sure, that is an excellent question, Commissioner Witches. So the contract that we engaged with MGGG to launch this public comment portal was through the duration of this redistricting cycle and supporting the commission. If we were to take it down because the contract has kind of reached its term, which is what we're discussing here. I'm unsure that if we were to relaunch, should you all have to go back to the drawing board or a subsequent commission have to go back to the drawing board. I don't believe that that would be covered under the contract that we previously entered into with MGGG. If the commission wants to relaunch it, were that to happen, or a subsequent commission wants to relaunch it, were that to happen, it's likely that we would need to enter into a new contract with them to launch that. And I'm unsure how easy it would be to relaunch the same portal. Mike Brady, I know that you were a part of the building of this portal, working with MGGG as well. I don't know if you have anything additional to add to that.
I don't have anything additional. Yeah, I think there's some good questions that have been raised here, and I think I imagine it'd be a pretty straightforward phone call to Moon Dujan to understand, the answers to some of them.
But although the portal although we may not be able to relaunch the portal, should you all re-enter a mapping phase, although we don't really know what that looks like. We will, as I said, retain all of the comment submissions, so you would not lose those comments or public input, but acknowledging that you would want probably a mechanism for collecting that if you were to re-enter mapping. We could, ask what that might look like.
Well, my biggest concern is just the data itself, because now you can point to different tags and things, and all that going to be in vain if we have to put it back together might not be a good thing. So unless, my opinion would be to don't take any action on it now. Keep going with the hosting website until we have a firm answer saying, if we take it down and come back, can you take the website as it is right now and re-upload it so that it is in the exact same state? Like, we just took a snapshot of it, took it down, we can bring it back up. If that answer is a yes, then I'd say, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and take it down. But until I actually have that answer solid, concrete, I don't want to take any action on this as of right now.
And just to clarify, and apologies for the interruptions, Executive Director Woods, I see your hand is up, but I just want to clarify what taking action versus not taking action would mean for the commission. So as it stands now, not taking action, the website would expire at the end of August. It is set to do so. And if the commission wanted to avoid having the website expire, you would have to take action to approve the budgeting of $500 a month. So making the website stay up would require a motion from you all to adjust your budget. I believe you do have another meeting in between now and then, so you could always discuss that or make a final decision at that time. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Mr. Brady, please go ahead, and then we'll take Director Woods.
Yeah, thank you. The one thing I wanted to clarify and just really emphasize is that, as you recall back from, what was this, March, April 2021, one of the last, projects generally that Sally Marsh had worked on, before she moved on to other things. So from the very beginning, even the conceptual approach to this project, front and center was the need to have whatever system was created, to have the records, to have it built out in a way that it would always retain the records. So I just can't emphasize that enough. We knew at the very beginning that there would be, it was a life cycle to the commission, like there is for everything else. Obviously, you guys aren't, called upon to do as much as you were a year ago. That's the nature of the life cycle. With the data and the need for a portal to facilitate public comment, there's simply not the same kind of need that there was then, that there was before. There are, there remains and there always will be ways for the public to comment, but all of the public comments, all of the tags, everything else was built from, with a clear understanding that it wasn't just, important for you all to get that information in real time, though it certainly was important for you to have it in real time from the public, but that it was also critically important for that information to be preserved for records and retention going forward because of litigation, but frankly, because of the need of posterity and society at large, academics, future commissions, all of those things. So the retention of the documents was built in at the very opening conversation we had internally and with Duchin and with any conversation with your staff and with the commission itself dating back to spring of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Director Woods, and then we'll go to Commissioner Eid.
Thank you, Commissioner Arthur. I just want to reiterate, we're doing the same thing with my districtor, where we have already pulled the comments off and they're accessible off the website. So if you want to take a look at what that looks like, you do not go to that website to identify the comments that were to use. And that was roughly, 24,000 comments that we received through the that portal that we obtained through EDS. So I just want to make sure that no one's alarmed with regards to the data. I understand what Commissioner Riches is saying in terms of getting stuff easily uploaded if we were have to continue. But if you want an example of what it looks like, you can go to our website and see the reports from there, just so you have some context of what we're already done.
And let me clarify, when you say our website, this is the michigan.gov/MICRC?
That is correct.
Okay, and then we're talking about taking, right, my districtor was a separate website where we had the maps from our mapping consultant. And we're talking about a third website here, which is the from MGG, which was our portal. And all of these those two.
No, it's not a website, it's a report. Because remember, it cost us money and the commission elected not to continue. So they downloaded the report so that we could reference the comments. Because some people are gonna, you can imagine some people are gonna do dissertations, they're gonna do research, they're gonna wanna look at the comments and what was considered. And so we wanted to make sure we preserve that information. And there's a link, it's actually an Excel spreadsheet. It's not a website, it's an Excel spreadsheet, an export of the comments that were made that you could see. So just want to share that with you.
So it's a static page on our website. And I suppose what I'm hearing is that we may actually have another page dedicated on our website, for example, to whatever the MGG portal currently is.
Right, that they would export, and that would be a static page that they could get that information.
Okay. Commissioner Eid, you had your hand.
Yeah, so I was going to suggest we add this to the agenda for the August meeting as a line item under new business. That way we can get the answers to the questions that people have brought up and make a decision on if we want to put in or not.
Thank you, Commissioner Eid. All right, so we'll add that to our, and I believe if there are no other questions or comments, Ms. Reinhardt, do you have, and Mr. Brady, do you have what you need as far as what you were asking for before your report ends, before we move on?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we are moving on to item 12 on our agenda. Correspondence received in advance of our meeting today was provided along with the written public comments to the commissioners in our meeting materials. Item 13, are there any agenda items? Yes, Commissioner E just added one to our agenda. The discussion around the fees or having, I think the next agenda item has to be action or no action on those fees, $500 a month. Are there any other future agenda items? All right. Are there any announcements? Commissioner Eid.
I just wanted to remind the public watching that we have a primary election in our state going on August 2nd. It's funny, I actually just went and voted absentee yesterday here in Orchard Lake, and it was a really surreal moment seeing the districts that we drew over the past 2 years on the ballot. And it just makes me so happy that we live in a state where it's both really easy to vote. I just gave them my ID and they gave me an absentee ballot, while the election's also being safe and secure. So let's just remind everyone to go vote in these primaries. Let's get the vote out there. And be happy that we blessed in this state.
Thank you, Commissioner Eid. Any other announcements? All right, I believe we are at that time on our agenda, as all the items are completed, that we may adjourn. May I have a motion?
I'll move.
From Commissioner Witches and second from Commissioner Weiss. All in favor of adjournment, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. Thanks, y'all. See y'all in August. Bye-bye.